Pursuant to the updated Illinois Attorney General guidance to public bodies on the Open Meetings Act, during the COVID-19 pandemic, dated July 2020, aldermen and elected officials of the city of Wooddale may participate in public meetings of the city without being physically present in compliance with the established conditions. With that, roll call, please.
Mute.
Roll call, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you
Okay.
now.
Okay, Alderman Sorrentino,
Here.
Alderman Jacob,
Here.
Alderman Woods,
Here.
Alderman Sismarski,
Here.
Alderman Roy Wesley, Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Here.
Alderman Catalano,
Here.
Alderman Messina.
Here.
Okay, a quorum is present. Make a motion to approve the minutes from October 22nd, 2020 for the Planning, Zoning, and Building Committee minutes. Any questions?
So
A
move.
second? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
No, you need to take a
Opposed?
roll call.
What's that?
I believe we have to take
a roll.
Why do you need a roll?
because we're Zoom.
Oh,
Is that correct, Pat? All Zoom.
Yes. Correct.
okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Aye.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Okay. That passes. Next, report and recommendation, modification of the Thorndale corridor, overlay boundary and regulations. I'm assuming Ed has a presentation on this one.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. This is CD Director Ed Cage. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So, as you will all recall, we brought this to committee not so long ago, kind of as a forerunner before it went to CDC for informational purposes. We had a lot of good feedback from the committee. And essentially, you know, I thought some really good messages came out of that meeting, which were we were not picking winners and losers. And I think what has developed out of that is what I think is a better plan. So what we have done, and in your packets, you'll see that the Thorndale Corridor Overlay, which was adopted in 2009, kind of broke out into a number of different areas. You know, the corporate Main Street, etc. Yeah, Nick, if you could go to two more slides. And it broke down into, I think, 5 different groupings, as you can see on the left map. What we are proposing, obviously this went to CDC for a public hearing, is to take all those groups and merge them into one, therefore making everybody comparable. No one's getting preferential treatment. So what we did was propose to combine them all into one group under the Thorndale Corridor Overlay. And then if you could go to the next slide, Nick, please. This is a little tough to see, but this is what's existing today with the different subcommittees. It has a number of different uses. And you can see in some of those groupings, like the corporate Main Street, things that, areas that we're seeing a lot of economic development growth, i.e. warehousing, logistics, etc., manufacturing, they're not permitted. And if you can go to the next screen, please, Nick. So again, sorry, this is a little difficult to see. Hopefully you can read it better than I can. But by taking those groups, merging them into one, we've come up with a simpler list of permitted and special uses. And I think really the key here is that what we're allowing is the sort of developments and the sort of uses that we're seeing. logistics, warehousing, manufacturing. So what we've taken is somewhat, I would say, not somewhat, is a complicated process that property owners and developers are having a tough time with, i.e. the Thorndale Corridor overlay. We've kept the regulations in place. We've simplified it. We've made it more user-friendly. And I think we're playing to the strengths that we're seeing in terms of economic development, even now with COVID-19. We're seeing a lot of new development. And really the proposal in front of you is to simplify things, hold certain standards and hold them at a high level. So we're not allowing uses that the city doesn't want, but allow uses to come in. And I probably cast your mind back to the last meeting that we had. We did have a number of uses come in and request numerous variances and exceptions for parking, etc., from the Thorndale Corridor overlay. I've heard a number of those comments from the CDC, essentially asking why people are asking for so many exceptions and variances. Essentially, the answer is they can't comply with the Thorndale Corridor overlay. So with that, this item we did have a public hearing via Zoom. We did have some public comments. We did have a lot of interested parties. And if you go to the next screen, Nick, the CDC did recommend approval 5-0. That we consolidate the Thorndale Corridor overlay into one district, modify the allowable uses list, which we just looked at a minute ago. And then obviously that has an effect on a couple of the sections relating to parking and the framework. And let's be clear, this is not modifying the regular parking requirements in the UDO. It's just that, as you will recall, on a couple of our developments, the Thorndale Corridor has a more stringent parking requirement. So that was the recommendation of the CDC. And with that, I'll stop talking if there are any questions.
I have one question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Alderman Wesley.
Hey, what was some of the comments that were raised?
Excellent point, Alderman Wesley. So we had, I believe, two comments or two. One was more of a question and one was more of a comment at the CDC meeting. One was a property owner who was physically present at the meeting. They essentially wanted to see how the proposed amendments affected their property. We provided them with the information, kind of gave him some background. And when he realized he could still continue to operate his business without any changes, he was happy. And I know there was one other comment via Zoom along the same lines, which was just more of a clarification.
Okay, I'm good.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yep, go ahead.
There was some input too. Some of the attorneys for the property owners had some questions because they felt that the restrictions that were contained in the sub areas were actually impeding their clients' ability to fully utilize the property. So they had some input in the early stages with some of those concerns. And again, you've seen developments that came before you, although they received approval from the CDC. There were a number of different variances. This would eliminate some of those kind of hyper technical requirements. And by unifying into a single district, you get rid of those subcategories, and it will make it easier for there to be development up in that area. And that's the kind of the word that's come down from the development community. And it does so without compromising the types of uses that the city council would like to see at the gateway to its borders.
Okay,
Okay, do we have any other questions?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Who's second?
I did, Alderman Jacob. Roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino? Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Next, items to be considered at future meetings. Okay, with that, with not having any, I would make a motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Well,
Opposed?
have to do
Roll call here again?
everything, yeah, everything was changed. Everything needs a roll call.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Here.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Messina? Alderman Messina?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Okay, I'd like to call the Public Health, Safety, Judiciary, and Ethics Committee to order. Let's have a roll call.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Here,
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
here,
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Here.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Here.
Alderman Catalano?
Here.
Alderman Messina?
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of October 22nd, 2020. For
So
the
moved.
Health, Safety, Judiciary, and Ethics Committee minutes. Anybody second that?
Yeah.
Okay, Alderman Wesley second. Thank you. Any questions? Can I do it all in favor?
No, you gotta do a roll call.
Okay. Roll call, Eileen. Or,
Al- Alderman Sorrentino?
yes?
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
We have a first report and recommendation. I would think that's an abbreviation for Veterans Memorial Agreement. VET, correct?
Oh.
Okay. The VET Memorial Agreement approval of the HR.
You're reading the public works stuff.
Oh,
the squad car.
thank you.
Yes.
Sorry about that. You're a little ahead.
Come on, Biden.
I know. Sleepy Sunny, yeah. Okay, how about the one report here? We have the squad car computer replacement, and I have no one but the best Chief Vesta to take that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start this off and then I'm going to turn it over to IT Director Case, but just a little background. We're coming to you tonight with an item that was in the CIP for replacement of our 8-year-old in-car squad computers. Essentially, just for the background of what we use them for is they're pretty much essential for everything we do in patrol on a daily basis. The one thing that has changed over the years is we take them out of the cars more than ever, especially with all of our electronic reporting systems. So we did demo a number of different types of configurations, whether it be laptops or tablets and docking stations. But we use them for all of our calls from CAD. We write all of our reports in the squad and or in booking. When we bring a prisoner downstairs, we'll bring the computer with us down there to do that. We issue and print all of our electronic citations, parking tickets, and tow reports. We do our traffic crash reports on them. Of course, when they're in the field, they use the office for finding emails, GPS location of the officer that ties into our CAD system to be viewed at all times. And then the video and audio recording that is for all of our in-car camera and also for our coming body cameras to be able to manage those through that. So IT Director Case handled the bidding and specking of everything we'll need. So Nick, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, that's correct. And this item is for not only the computers, but also the docking bays, mounts, antennas, desktop docks, and keyboard. So we're going to replace everything this go around. We did not replace any of them the last time we did that, putting them at probably somewhere around, if I had to guess, 16 years old, whereas the laptops are just going on 8 years old now. So They have been spec'd. We did get 3 quotes. We've looked at them extensively and yeah,
May I?
Yep.
May I ask a question, please?
Why don't we let Nick finish?
Oh, I thought he was done. I'm sorry.
So basically the laptops have been beginning to experience a few failures, nothing compared to the last time we replaced them, but we want to kind of get ahead of this while we can. That's why it was budgeted for in the CIP. And yeah,
You done, Nick?
I'm done.
Wesley?
Yes, I have one question. Actually, 2 questions. Is this also going to the CSO cars too?
Yes, that's correct. They are currently in the CSO cars, and we would also be replacing those.
So how many squad cars do we have actually? Can you tell me that?
So we have 10 regular patrol cars and the 2 CSO vehicles, and then the investigator call-out computers too.
All right, so may I do one more question, please?
Absolutely.
What was the other prices? I don't see that listed in the agenda. Who else bid for it?
1.
Hello?
So if you give me a minute, so these are all spec'd out. And so they come from one vendor, which is G-Tech. Panasonic's prices are significantly higher for their devices, and G-Tech makes a better device. So basically G-Tech sets pricing. So we just went to 3 vendors, or I should say resellers that resell G-Tech, and got the quotes. If you are looking for the amounts, if you give me a minute, I can find them.
We're looking for them, so take your time and find them, please.
I will do.
Thank you.
As long as, while he's finding those, I'll just touch base on the one final thing on this is, again, the DUI convicted offenders. Over the last several years, we've built up that fund, and I know we've recently used it to purchase our in-car squad cameras and also the body cameras, but we do have sufficient funds to go towards this also, and still leave some funding in there for future items. Although we don't anticipate any for the next several years out of that, that would start to build up again. This is one of those things that is specifically identified for and supposed to be used for.
Are there grants available for this purchase?
No, there are no grants right now available for these purchases, just the squad cams and the body cameras.
Hey, if they don't have them, I can wait till next week for this other number.
No, I've got it. So we've got, so the winner was at $83,867.67. One of the other quotes was $84,391.92. And the third was $91,034.25.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question, Sonny.
Jacob?
Are these not Panasonic Tough Books?
That is correct. They are not. They are I don't want to say a new player in the game, but they'll be new for us. G-Tech has been around for some time. Some years ago, Panasonic was the only one who made a ruggedized device basically designed for police use. And G-Tech saw that, and they started developing ruggedized devices for specifically, again, for police and military use. At a significant fraction of the cost. So they've come a significantly long way. We did investigate them the last time we were doing a replacement about 8 years ago, and they just really weren't where we needed them to be. But now they've come, far, far ahead of what we're seeing from Panasonic. So they will not be Tough Books. They will be G-Tech devices.
Follow up, Alderman Jacob?
So I know, at least, from what I know, majority of police departments use the Panasonic Tough Books. What is the advantage of the Tough Book over this, and what would it cost to do the Tough Books versus this?
So we only preliminarily priced out Tough Books, but actually most police departments are now moving to G-Tech devices just because of the cost savings. And when you get a significantly better device, or even if you went with a comparable device, the cost savings is there. There's really no reason to go to Panasonic. They're just kind of getting killed by G-Tech. So yeah, most municipalities are actually moving to them, which is why we just briefly investigated them and found that G-Tech is what we needed.
As one.
Can I be recognized?
Yes, please, Randy.
So, Nick, just want to confirm, compatibility-wise, if we were to move to G-Tech, would a lot of the functional components that are in the squad cars now, would they integrate?
Oh.
The hardware, software?
Yeah, so everything is going to be the same. They're going to run Windows. The mounts are also like the mounts, desktop docks, etc. Those are all universal in the term that if we were to go back to a Panasonic, we would not have to repurchase all of our equipment. Those are made by a third-party company as well. That's not G-Tech nor Panasonic. So they're pretty universal. So you can be swapped in and
Great.
out.
Follow up, Alderman Messina?
No, thank you.
You're my go-to guy when it comes to technology, so I was going to ask your opinion. So if you're happy.
That's scary.
This is scary with me having to make these decisions. Alderman Jacob.
Could I ask one more question?
One more question? Okay, go ahead.
So I know the Panasonic Tough Books, I know the chief said they're being taken in and out of the squad cars. I know the Tough Books, if you dropped them, I mean, they would survive being dropped and not have any issues. Are these just as sturdy?
They are
called Wimp books.
well spec-rated.
What was that?
I'm sorry, they are all military spec rated, so they have the equivalent of drop testing and waterproofing, etc. They're all tested by the military. So,
okay.
Thank you, Nick.
Can I be recognized once more, Alderman Sorrentino?
Please do.
Hey, Nick, one thing I didn't ask, and I apologize before, but just thought about it. And I didn't read it, so maybe I missed it. Warranty. Was there mention of that?
So there wasn't I don't believe there was in the memo. However, the warranty is a bumper to bumper 3-year on each of them. And we could have purchased an additional 2 years for somewhere around $600 a device. However, what we found is purchasing the additional warranties is not recommended because the odds of a failure in 5 years are slim to none. And if we did have one, it would be more cost effective to just buy a new laptop at that point than to, go ahead and execute a warranty at that price.
I would imagine by then the technology, like a cell phone, would have just been, there'd be better technology out there in 5 years anyhow.
And really to touch on that point is I typically tend to buy very powerful devices because what I found is they have better parts, they're more reliable, and kind of like this go around, we got almost 8 years out of these. I mean, that's really atypical. A lot of municipalities are replacing them every 4 to 5. But what I found is that for, a little bit more money up front, we can almost double the lifespan of these. So that's kind of the mantra that I follow.
Final question. Who's got it? Okay, then. Need a motion.
I make the
I'll
motion.
make a motion.
Second.
What's the motion?
Peter motion, Randy second.
I said, what was the motion though? To go with the one that
Move.
recommending?
Yes.
Well, since Peter is the motioner, let's see if he remembers.
It was actually.
I had my hand raised and I said it. What is the motion, Peter?
The motion is to approve for $83,360 or $867.67. The 15 squad in-car computers.
Nobody wants to second it, Peter. Why is that?
Randy
I'll second it. I'll second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right, we got a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky.
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
And that passes. Nick, I want to personally compliment you on the research and the hard work you put in to find the best of the three. So thank you on behalf of the council. Thank you. Good job. All right. Let's see what we got next here. I'm not going to go into public works, but I lost my page here. Do I got anything else here?
No,
Items to be considered. Anybody got an item to be considered? I don't.
Oh.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to adjourn. What? Go ahead, Randy.
No, I apologize. I'll wait. I'll wait for next time.
Get it out now.
I don't have enough information to put it up yet. I'll wait. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, with nothing being further said, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor? Or we got to do a
roll call.
Roll call.
Okay, thank you, Eugene, for bringing to mind every other word. Roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
We are adjourned. I wish you all good health and stay healthy and stay well, you and your families. It's up to you, PW.
Like to call the order of the Public Works Committee. Roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Here.
Alderman Jacob,
Here.
Alderman Woods,
Here.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Present.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Here.
Alderman Catalano,
Here.
Alderman Messina.
Here.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 22nd, 2020 Public Works Committee meeting.
So move.
Second.
Roll call, please. All in favor?
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Okay, so that passes, and of course, no corrections to the meetings, no? If
No.
they are done. Next is a reported recommendation for the Vets Memorial Agreement approval of an agreement with HR Green Development LLC for the Veterans Park Landscaping Plan in the amount not to exceed $12,000.
Make that motion.
I'll second it. Any questions on the motion?
I have
Yeah.
a question.
Go ahead, Alderman Eugene Wesley.
I'll let the mayor go first, whoever that was.
Oh,
That was me.
Go ahead, Mayor.
So if I understand correctly, they're going to give us three different scenarios. Is that correct? Because I definitely want to see one where they start from scratch, basically, and remove all the pines and leave whatever good trees we have. Is that one of the options, I hope?
Yeah.
Yeah, Director
Chairman,
Lang.
this is Director Lang, if I could be recognized.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so HR Green is going to present 3 concept plans. Now that we have finally settled on a location for the new Veteran Memorial medallions, they're going to be focusing on the area directly in front of there, as well as the area directly south of the current monument. They're going to be looking to enhance the overall visual appeal of the area, as well as enhance the visibility of the monument. And they will present 3 concept plans and then create a finalized plan based on the committee's input.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Eugene Wesley.
So, Mayor, I know what you were talking about with everything being removed out of there, brand new and all that. I believe there's a set of plans somewhere that they did do that when they were doing the treatment plan. So did we ever find that?
I got another follow up.
Director Lane, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, we have the original plans that they presented to the council before, and they'll probably be using those as a foundation for this new plan. This new plan is just to focus, now that we have a location for the medallions, which wasn't included in that original concept, to focus specifically on this area. So it'll probably be, to answer your question, a scaled down version of that plan.
Follow up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When I said removal of everything, I didn't mean everything on the site. I was just talking mostly the pines,
Right.
the pine trees. That's what I meant, and with a clean slate, because we have some nice trees in the area that probably should not be removed or do not need to be removed. So I just wanted to clarify, I wasn't talking about wiping down everything on the site, just the pine trees.
May I cut in?
Go ahead. Alderman,
It wasn't everything, Mayor. It was a buckthorn that was underneath all those trees and all that was supposed to be removed. Those trees were supposed to stay there. That was a plan that was proposed when the treatment plant was completed.
go ahead, Director Lane.
I can't speak to the plan that was previously presented. I think some of the existing trees there were used as screening to hide some utility equipment, which the EHR Green will take into consideration this time as well. As I said, they're going to present 3 concept plans, and based on the committee feedback, they'll present a final plan. So you'll have the opportunity to give your suggestions when HR Green brings their concepts back to committee, sometime most likely in January.
Oh,
Alderman Catalano.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mayor, I also took the liberty of talking to Ron Kroll from HR Green to ask his I don't know what you want to call it, herbologist or whatever they are, arborist, floral guy. Instead of coming back, make sure when he brings those 3 copies in, or 3 renderings in, probably try to impose some kind of indigenous flower that resembles poppies, seeing as that resembles all veterans. Your American Legions sell poppies, VFW sell poppies, and they walk through poppy fields, and everybody knows that. So I was asking him to try and overbed a certain area of ground with red flower that would withstand our winters and our summers, and so he doesn't have to come back later. So this way he'll have a drawing with it.
Okay. Any other questions? If there are not any more questions, they can. So we have a motion to approve. We have a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Jacobs?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is the Wynn Sculpture Veterans Medallion Lighting, and Director Lane. So you want to touch on that, because we do have a rejection on the bid, and what will be the next step for this?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. As we discussed at a previous committee meeting when we were discussing the new locations for the wind sculptures, we said that we were going to bid together lighting for the new wind sculptures based on the Streetscape Committee's recommendation, as well as lighting for the new Veterans Memorial Medallions. We put that out to bid, and unfortunately, we only received 1 bidder, which was well above what we had anticipated for a price for this project. If you look in your packet there, you'll see that the bid for those 4 locations, as well as an option for new bollards at the Veterans Memorial, came in just under $200,000. So well above what we were anticipating. Some of the issue was the type of lighting fixtures, which was spec'd out by the Streetscape Committee, as well as the locations themselves for the wind sculptures being rather remote. So what we're suggesting is that we reject the bid, and staff will prioritize supplying lighting to the Veterans Memorial Medallions. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Okay.
Tony?
Go ahead, Alderman Messina.
Oh, that was Eugene.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Eugene.
Go ahead, Alderman Wesley.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with staff on this, reject all the bids and rebid it
Only
out.
one
And
bid.
well, I understand
Yeah.
that, but, and then make a, where are we going first? I mean, this is way too high. So that's my motion.
Right. That's what staff recommends. So
Yeah, but you need a motion on it, so I'm giving you it.
Okay, I'll second that. Any other questions?
I got one.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Mr. Lang, I know you said we rejected all bids and we're making a motion to move forward or go out to bid again for the medallion lighting. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
So I'm not sure that the medallion lighting would necessarily need to be rebid. We can purchase the fixtures separately for well under 10,000, and then if the committee so directs, we can work with H&H to find a way to install that is within our budget.
Right.
Well, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
So basically we've got five lights, possibly 6, eventually if we go with Space Force at some point. 30, well, we have to call it anyway. So I'm just saying, 35,000 for 5 lights. That's 7,000 a light. And I think, what are the ornamental lights cost us? Like 10,000? So, I mean, I think these are smaller in size and whatnot. Do we even know what they look like? So if we go out to bid again, that would be great, just as long as this is a priority. Once we get those medallions up, sometime soon, we'd like to get the lights up. That's all I'm saying.
And Chairman, if I could.
Go ahead.
You have a question for legal? Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to comment. Part of the issue with the overhead lighting for the medallions, as it was advertised, was that to run the conduit inside that mechanical building at the North Treatment Plant would require specialized conduit, what they described as explosion-proof. So what we would be looking for with H&H is to find a way to maybe run the conduit on the outside discreetly to be able to reduce that cost also.
Okay, any other, go ahead, Peter, Alderman Jacob.
Yeah, and then what are we, so we're just not gonna do anything then with the wind sculptures?
Not yet.
Budget. CIP.
Right.
Okay.
I have a follow-up.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Well, I think Alderman Sismarski was first.
Yeah, I guess mine, what it was, sorry, is it all right?
Go ahead.
Tony?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
guess it would be for legal, just for the, I should know better, but just for legal purposes during this time, you know, you got so many people that are out of jobs and companies that are falling apart. There's no way anyone in town who is a legal licensed electrician or a company that owns a business in town could bid or do work for the city. I like that, or offer their work up, since we do the shop local, dine local. I mean, is there any way to put that out there that find out if someone's out of work or, you know, certified?
Fifth Chairman, this is Director Lang. We advertise all of our bids publicly at Daily Herald. Anybody is welcome to bid. We didn't have any type of pre-qualification for this project, so any local contractor was welcome to bid. As far as sole sourcing something like this, obviously it came with a pretty hefty price tag, so we're obligated by certain legal statutes that we have to advertise to everyone.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Alderman
Wouldn't
Woods.
we? Can I be Rick?
Alderman Woods.
Yeah, I just want to, so we're bidding the electric and we don't have the plan yet for the Veterans Memorial where we're actually putting the medallions. How does that work? Isn't that a little backwards?
Can
I hop in? Can I hop in real quick?
Yes.
This is South
Yeah,
Wall or West Wall.
I don't actually believe that to be the plan at this point. In the memo and the analysis portion, we kind of broken it into two, both the Vets Memorial, then the wind sculpture lighting. And then at the end of the Veterans Memorial section in the analysis, it actually recommends at this point, you know, we'll have more information once HR Green does the design work. So we're kind of in a holding pattern right now with the lighting / electrical at the Veterans Memorial, knowing that we'll of course allocate funds, and then the wind sculptures seems to be a little bit excessive for the price, so that one was going to kind of go on a back burner
I agree.
So to follow up, then the only thing we're doing here is concurring or voting down or voting to reject all the existing bids.
Basically.
Okay, thank you.
We have a follow-up?
No, I'm good.
And-
No, I have a follow-up.
Okay, head mayor?
So again, we're rejecting this bid and Mr. Lang said that we're looking at other ways to light up the medallions, which is on the wall, not the bollards. And he would talk to H&H. My thing is, instead of just talking to H&H, why don't we get another bid? If we're doing something different, we should get another bid. We might even be cheaper, but again, what type of lighting are they looking to put out there? Are they gonna look like our ornamental lights or what? And as far as the bollards, as they do the landscaping, they can figure bollards in. And that'll be coming up later, but I'm just wanna move forward with the lighting on the. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can I cut in a minute? So why can't we just wait until the designs are done, presented to us with HR Green, and then come back and visit that? I mean, they should be able to turn these lighting bids back quicker once we see the design that they're coming up with. Hello?
I think that would be a good choice, Alderman.
That's what we've been talking about, right? Let's do the design and we'll take it from there.
Well, there was controversy back and forth. We still want to do the medallion with the lights, but let's see the designs first, then let's visit this lighting thing again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried without lighting those medallions. It's just like lighting a flag at an evening.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Alderman
Just so everybody, if I can hop in real quick, just so everybody's aware, even though there's no moving forward with this will be on the agenda because this is one of those items of the council that has to have closure because we have to reject all bids.
Right.
Tony, just taking 1 minute. What was the amount? What was the amount that was on there again?
197,000.
And that was for all. That was for everything, correct? The medallions, the 2 windmill
No.
sites, or just the medallions?
And the wind sculptures, yes.
What's it? Yeah. So the wind sculptures and the medallions was 187.
No, 194, 651.
194. Okay.
650.
And the bollards. And the bollards.
The bollards, well, yeah.
And the bollards. Okay. Yeah. And we purchased those bollards, correct? Or are they, somebody
No,
we
it's
picked the
part of the
bollards out
contract.
already?
It's
We
part of
had
the
not
contract.
purchased the bollards. They were just an alternate option if the council so.
Like Alderman Woods did, we're gonna, bring in pictures of bollards. Is there a way to get concept looking at what kind of bollards we could pick out, or kind of sconces, or light sconces, or I mean, is it just a plain whatever we're going with? Just lamps.
Yeah, I think as Alderman Wesley laid out, I think the motion tonight should be to reject the bid, and then once we have the medallions installed and a landscape plan in place, then we can readdress the lighting at a later date.
Right. Okay. I mean, how about if you modify it a little bit and say have staff go out and look at other sconces, not put them in, get the medallions up, but look at other kinds of sconces that we can, and bollards that we can probably purchase cheaper than having someone purchase them for us and doing it all at once. Come up with some like we did for the city hall and everything else. Is that a possibility to have staff do that?
Yeah, we can certainly price out different types of light fixtures.
Alderman Jacob?
Yeah, just a quick question. I might have asked this in a prior meeting, but for the lighting, could we use tourism funds?
Director Lane?
You know what? I would have to kind of defer to City Manager Murmas on that one. I'm not sure what those could be eligible for.
Well, you also have legal here.
Yeah, legal dropped off, but I'll play the city attorney. Honestly, I wouldn't see a problem with that. That would bring visitors into the community. It probably would be a justifiable expense, but keep in mind, tourism fund is not going to be flush with cash these days with COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, that budget line item will likely be decimated this budget year.
All right.
Okay, so is there any other questions? So let's have a roll call to reject the bids. Roll call, please.
Wait, are you gonna admit, is a motion gonna amend for staff to look at lighting?
No,
Just pick out some sections of lighting, look at lighting, bring us back some.
No, this is just to reject the bid.
this is just to reject the bid. And then problem is with that, we just got done discussing it for 10 minutes now that we want to see what the design comes back first.
Wow.
Then we could go out and look for lights.
Can we have a roll call on that if there's no other questions?
Who made the motion?
I made a motion to eject the bid.
Right.
Who's second?
Second.
Tony,
Okay. I second, yes.
I think Tony seconded it.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes, please.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
yes,
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Next is, motion carries, I'm sorry. Next is approval of an agreement between the city of Wooddale and DuPage River Salt Creek work group for the special condition extension in the amount not to exceed $178,406. That is my motion.
I'll
second,
second that.
Okay, any questions on the motion? If there are none, roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes,
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
yes,
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes,
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
motion carries. Next is items to consider at future meetings. We have the senior grass coming up in December 10th, 2020. New vehicle purchases, December 10th, also 2020. And last is approval of the intergovernmental agreement with the state, with the Illinois State Toll Highway Authority for the IL 390 Elgin O'Hare Western Access Expansion Project. And that was coming up in December, also December 10th, 2020. Is there any other items to consider for future meetings?
Oh, I'll
If
make
there-
a motion to adjourn.
If there are none, roll call, please.
Need a
Adjourn.
second.
I
second,
second it.
Yeah.
I already second it, Mayor.
Okay,
Who did?
I did, Eugene.
Who made the motion?
I thought
Tony
Eugene
did.
made the motion.
I'll
That's what
second
I-
it.
Okay,
Eugene's first made the motion. I'll second it.
okay.
okay. Now we're good.
Alderman Sorrentino,
yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes,
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes,
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
we're adjourned. Thank you.
excellent. I'd like to call the Finance and Administration Committee to order. Will the minute taker please call the roll?
Alderman Sorrentino,
Present.
Alderman Jacob,
Here.
Alderman Woods,
Here,
Alderman Sismarski,
Present.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Here.
Alano,
Here.
Alderman Messina.
Here.
okay, next, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of October 22nd, 2020.
I'll second that.
Vote.
Sorrentino.
Are there any questions, corrections, revisions? There being none, roll call?
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes,
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes,
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes,
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
That passes. Next, report and recommendation, CARES Act IT projects. Who's going to take that? Mr. Case, are you?
Mr. Chairman, I'll do a quick lead off if it's okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, so there are a number of items presented here this evening for IT projects. Just a quick note that the majority, if not all of these projects, were going to be included in next year's CIP and or operating budget anyways. With the CARES Act funding that we got from the county, as well as staff look like, you know, we've been working from home for the last 6-7 months off and on, and it looks like we're trending back in that direction again. We needed to fortify the city's networks, especially with increased attacks on networks and network security. So IT is basically just moving these projects up about 5 to 6 months to get those done. Again, to protect the city's network infrastructure, and these were, you know, on the radar anyways. So taking advantage of the CARES Act funding, some timing, and just trying to better secure the network. So for any technical questions on these, obviously would have to defer to IT Manager Case, but that's kind of an overview of why these are before you tonight and how the funding for these came about.
Excellent. So we're still going to keep these singly. We're going to do them one at a time. Mr. Wilson?
No.
Talking for discussion. So I believe technically these all are independent projects. So if, for example, you don't like the cloud backup storage solution, okay, that's not going to stop the internal switch upgrade project.
Right. That's what I thought. So we're good. So on the CARES Act IT projects, are there any questions?
So
Yeah, this is Randy. Can I be recognized?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Alderman.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think just to cut to the chase, this is something that was on our radar. It's something that, you know, I talked with Nick about earlier today. Knowing, I mean, at the simplest levels, knowing what a breach can cause, whether that be for city data or PII or resident data, it was inevitable. And so, I mean, I'd personally like to make the motion to move forward with all of the proposed IT projects as far as moving those up.
I will second that, Alderman Jacob.
It's not technical for staff or the city manager. Is that okay that we lump them together?
Yeah, sure. We can lump them together right now at committee, but at the end of the day, once we need to advance these items to council, they would be picked off on a one-by-one basis. But for the purposes of tonight, we could approve them as a slate. The timing of each individual approval is still a little bit up in the air.
Alderman Woods, could I be recognized?
Sure, go ahead, Alderman Messina.
Would it improve our chances of getting the CARES Act funding if we submitted as a lump versus individual projects?
We already received the check for the CARES Act funding, so we have that in hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that whether they're lumped together or single projects is just an internal and legal issue, keeping them separated. So for this meeting, if we want to lump them together, first, are there any questions on any of the other items, 1, 2, or 3?
I just want to make sure the motion was made not to exceed $151,055.05. We have to read the motions because everything is Zoom, everything's recorded. Just saying I make a motion without saying any facts. It's not helpful.
Right. Well, we haven't made a motion yet, so, but excellent point.
We have a motion second, but no real motion.
Alderman Messina made a motion, I seconded.
I can amend my motion. Was it $151,050 and how much change?
No, $55.05.
So if we're to interrupt, so if we're going to do that and make this so that it's all transparent, it's just as easy to do them one at a time. So they're down in the record. We know what the amount for each one is. Unless anybody has an objection to that, we're going to have to do that anyway at the council meeting.
Right.
Can I be recognized?
I did put the items up on the screen so that you can see them
Yeah.
with the not to exceed.
May I be recognized, please?
Alderman Wesley?
So my question to you guys, we are going to go ahead and do all these, bump these projects up? Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
No, well,
Yes.
Okay, and could
Yeah,
someone tell me
but
how much money was given to us already for the CARE Act?
Yeah, I can take that one, Mr. Chair. So the city, we received just a little over 800,000. It was 805 and change. And so far breakdown, based on budget numbers, 165,000 covered the vehicle stickers, 130 for commercial occupancy, 60 for liquor licenses, about 11,000 for outdoor dining. Council last week approved up to about 200,000 in the vouchers if they're all redeemed. And then we have the, give or take, 150,000 tonight. And all that adds up to a little less than the 800,000 that we got back in CARES Act funding from the county.
Okay, thank you. So are we?
Alderman Woods, can I just amend my motion, or is it noted?
Sure. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, if you're willing to
All
do
right.
that. Go ahead, Alderman.
Yeah, so I'd like to amend my motion to upgrade the city's IT infrastructure and safety software in the total amount of $151,055.05 to be reviewed by project. Is that sufficient?
That'll work for this meeting.
Yeah.
Does the seconder agree?
Seconder agrees.
I have a question.
Alderman Wesley?
All right, so we're going to approve all this upgrade, not this meeting, but next meeting or whatever. How quick is this, all these upgrades going to be done?
Mr. Case?
Not quickly. I can tell you, we're in the middle of an ERP implementation, and really what brought this to committee was some of the urgency revolving around COVID-19, work from home, things trending in that direction, and also to further secure our networks and infrastructure as more and more people turn to working from home and as kind of COVID numbers increase. So it became urgent, and these were all planned for future years, more specifically next year, after ERP was done. But being that there's a level of urgency now, they will get done. I can't give you, for example, the Microsoft 365 implementation, that there are multiple different small software modules included in that we would be rolling out over the course of 2 years. It's similar to an ERP project. The most critical ones would be done almost immediately because those are the ones that are going to secure our network. For example, we just had it wasn't technically a breach, but it was an unauthorized access of our account in Exchange. And had we had Microsoft 365, the bad actor who accessed one of our accounts in Nigeria would not have had the capability to do so. So some of these are really important as things get a little bit more aggressive out there. And that's why they're being brought to you now. So I can't really give you a timeline.
Maybe recognize Alderman Woods.
Sure, go ahead, Alderman Messina.
So Director Case, when you say critical, I mean, in my mind, I think critical are the things that are public facing, where some of the publicly or personally identifiable information of our residents are at stake. But how do you define critical projects of these, 4 or 5?
So I define them, it's hard to rate them in order, but I would define that based on the level of protection and functionality the city is going to receive. So with the Microsoft 365, for example, we're going to gain significant security functionality in our email and cloud environments, as well as
That's internal facing, right? I mean, I'm just thinking risk. I'm thinking about risk and vulnerability. I want to downside, like to me, I would be more concerned about the vulnerability of our residents. I gave the example of, and guys, to put this in perspective, I work with major cities. There was a breach of their water and sewer, right? And these people were able to access all of the people that prepaid their water bill. They were able to access all of their personal information and financial information. That to me is more important than somebody breaching my email and sending, 1,000 emails out to random people. So I don't know. That's, I guess, Nick, something obviously you're our expert. So I would hope that we would focus on more of the those that are more vulnerable, that put our residents, vulnerable, versus projects that would, no offense, our employees, maybe if they're not mission critical employees or tasks. I would hope that would take a back seat to some of the resident ones.
Alderman Jacob?
Kind of to what Alderman Messina said. I mean, what I would consider, unless it's totally different, I would consider the police department the most important. Right. There's a lot of, is that included in this, or is the police department separate than this?
Director Case?
So this encompasses everything that both the aldermen are speaking about. So Microsoft is going to help protect residents by helping to protect us. The goal is to protect our internal infrastructure so that it makes it significantly more difficult for us to be breached and for us to essentially lose data. And the thing, there's a lot contained in email. That more than you would probably think. And a lot of the other Microsoft features that are going to come with this on some odd 4 or 5 different upgrades that come with this package are going to do different functions in protecting us internally, but as well as residents and protecting their data. That's the same with the endpoint protection solution. And this is citywide. It includes the police, and it includes anybody that would not be considered a separate taxing body.
Okay. Any other questions? Alderman Jacob?
For Director Case, I see here the Microsoft 365, it's per year, can cancel at any time. Next gen endpoint is 19/146/30, a yearly service with auto renewal. So could we cancel that at any time as well, or is that?
Director Case?
So that so the Microsoft you can cancel any time. The rest of them you can't. They're going to be year-long contracts with auto renewal. So I talked to Attorney Bond, and we can look at these similar to, especially the Microsoft one is similar to kind of ComEd or a kind of pay-as-you-use service solution. So we would engage in a yearly contract, and it would auto renew. And you really want to think about it like your electric bill. As you use it, that's what you're essentially being paid. And that goes for everything but the internal switch upgrade.
I guess a follow-up to that.
Sure, go ahead, Alderman.
But could, like, a year from now, there be another malware solution than this particular one we're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Cage?
Oh, sorry about that. Absolutely. We are actually currently on a next-gen solution that has been found not to meet the city's needs. And that's exactly why the renewal period is coming up, and that's exactly why we intend to switch to a solution that will hopefully meet our needs significantly better.
Okay.
Alderman Jacob?
Yeah, sorry. Well, you said to kind of think of this as ComEd. So if I'm thinking of it as ComEd, I'm thinking the next gen doesn't have any competition out there. As ComEd doesn't have a lot of competition out there. Is that the case, or?
That is not the case. There are not a whole plethora of, but there are a good number of next gen endpoint solutions out there. We currently have one of them, and kind of as mentioned, it's not meeting our needs. So we're looking to switch that solution to a managed solution, as is on the agenda. So, kind of if you want to use it like ComEd, there's a lot of different power providers out there. ComEd may be the method of delivery, but you can purchase your power through numerous, generators out there.
Just for Nick.
Alderman Sismarski, you have a question?
Yeah, Nick. I don't know. Is this for you? Are we even allowed to use that solar thing for even City Hall for backup? Or is the city allowed to go into that government solar program they have? The free solar powered program?
Anybody? Mr. Murmas?
I'm not quite clear what Alderman Sismarski is.
I keep seeing it out there. There's the Wooddale solar power panels. It's a government grant and a government program for alternate power.
For the homeowners?
Yeah, I mean, is the city also allowed to use that? I don't know. I'm wondering if we can also get that too. In a big field, you could use solar panels in.
Not sure how we transition to that topic, but certainly.
I was just going to say.
No, I know. I just had a question. It just popped up. I just had somebody ask me about it the other day.
All right. Well.
Next gen. So.
All right. So we have a motion. We have a second. Unless there's any other questions, roll call.
What?
Go ahead, Alderman Wesley.
What is a motion?
The motion is to approve the 3 IT projects and a total of amount not to exceed $151,055.05.
It's 4 projects.
Chairman, there are 4, just so you know.
Okay, 4 projects.
Correct.
So here, the upgrade the city's 4 IT infrastructure and safety software projects in a not to exceed amount of $151,055.05.
Perfect. Is that good, Alderman Wesley?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So no further questions. Roll call.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Wood,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Mine will be no. I have a lot more questions.
Put them in writing.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Next,
Can I be recognized really quick?
sure, Director Case, go ahead.
So just so the council is aware, the reason that we put everything into one memo was in the instance that additional CARES Act funding was going to be generated. It was our belief as staff that if we had one item, that it would be, if it was past that one item, it would be easier to submit and would be less pick and choosing, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to make the council aware of why we formulated the memo the way we did.
Excellent. So next is SB Friedman and Company Advisories.
No, it's the hyper-converged cluster.
Oh, that's right. Hyper-converged cluster maintenance support renewal. Mr.
No,
Case.
it's actually the flux capacitor. It's the flux capacitor.
Well, I thought we passed the flux capacitors last week. Mr. Case, do you want to weigh in on any of that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chairman. So this is the seeking approval for the purchase of a 3-year support renewal for 4 of the city's nodes in its hyper-converged server infrastructure cluster in an amount of $29,448.87. What this is essentially it is support and maintenance on the city server infrastructure. So if we have drive errors, if we have issues, if something happens to one of our numerous virtual machines, this is the support number I'm able to call and speak to and get replacement parts, etc. So this is really the core of the city's network, and this is where all our data resides, is on this cluster of nodes. If we were to not go ahead with the support renewal, then we'd have to pay on an as-needed basis. There's a few really important benefits to this. One being that we did actually have a failure of one of the drives in our node, and it's not something that I would necessarily normally see. However, the system is monitored by the support contractor, and they noticed before I did and wound up sending out a drive immediately that we got next day to bring the cluster back online. So it is quite valuable considering that this cluster supports all data and services for the city network.
Well, if it's that valuable, I'll make a motion to approve the hyperconverged cluster maintenance support renewal in the amount of $29,448.87.
Second, along with the flux capacitor.
Excellent. Alderman Jacob.
Director Case, question. It says it's the renewal for 4 of the city's nodes. Whatever, I'm not quite sure what a node is, but do we have more than 4 nodes? I mean, when I read that, it sounds like 4 of those, whatever it is.
Director Case?
We do have more than 4 nodes. The 4 nodes are the core infrastructure of the city. The other nodes you may be familiar with are the ones we just installed for the SCADA system upgrades that were brought to council earlier this year. Those are on a separate support renewal, and that renewal, being that it's newer equipment, is likely going to be significantly under the $10,000 mark for council. So we are not looking to renew those. We still have plenty of time on them. However, when they do begin to age and the cost starts to go up, I do intend to lump them all together once that contract is expired. And you will see a renewal sometime in the next few years, probably after 3 years, to bring everything up into term. So you'll likely see 7 nodes in this cluster then.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent. Any other questions? There being none, roll call.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
That passes. Next is SB Friedman and Company Advisory Services. Mr. Wilson?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we all know about the Nippon Express building going up over off of Bryn Mawr in what was formerly unincorporated area. There are plans, as you may or may not know, to develop further south of that area. So we need to have a consultant help us with cost estimate projections of future income, revenue, TIF projections, things of that nature over in that area. And SB Friedman, they've been working with us for a number of years. And so this contract, just being over $10,000, is coming to you to plan for that. It would be at actual, actual expenses. So if, they don't need the whole 19,000, they won't bill us for it, but that's what they're estimating the high water mark on this being.
Okay, so before we move forward, I'll make a motion to approve the SB Friedman and Company Advisory Services Agreement for a not to exceed amount of $19,900. Do I have a second? Now, are there any further questions?
Who's second?
Alderman Jacob.
No further questions. Roll call.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
That passes. Next, items to be considered at future meetings, audit, December 10th, 2020. And the all exciting CIP, January 14th, 2021. It's amazing that's just right around the corner. Are there any other things that somebody'd like to add? There being none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
moved.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
We are adjourned
Thank
Good night.
you. folks.
till we,
Good night.
till we Zoom again.
Till we-